Welcome. This is Chapter 6 of The Spiritual Combat and a Treatise on Peace of Soul by Dom Lorenzo Scupoli. The title of this chapter is Further Advice on How to Obtain a Distrust of Oneself and Confidence in God. As all our strength for conquering the enemy derives from distrust of self and confidence in God, I think I should give some additional advice, very necessary for obtaining these virtues. In the first place, everyone must be convinced that neither all natural or acquired abilities, nor all supernatural gifts or perfect knowledge of the Scriptures, nor even whole ages spent in the service of his Creator, can enable him to do the will of God. He cannot perform his duty unless the hand of the Almighty sustains him as often as any good action is to be done, temptation to be overcome, dangers to be avoided, or crosses to be borne according to the will of God. This truth must be kept in mind every day, every hour, and every moment of his life. In this way he will lose all presumption and will never rashly trust in himself. In order to acquire complete confidence in God, he must firmly believe that he is perfectly capable of conquering a great number of enemies as a few, the strong and experienced as the weak and inexperienced. Consequently, although a soul is overwhelmed by sins, although it has labored in vain to tear away from vice and follow virtue, although it should find its inclinations to evil increasing daily instead of diminishing in favor of virtue, yet it must not fail to place its confidence in God. It must not be discouraged or abandon its spiritual works. On the contrary, it must arouse itself to new fervor and redouble its efforts against the enemy. In this kind of battle, the victory will be won by him who has the courage not to throw down his arms or put aside his confidence in God. His assistance is always present for those that fight his battles, though he may sometimes permit them to be wounded. Persevere to the end. Victory depends on this. There is a swift and effective remedy for the wounds of anyone who fights for God's cause and who places his entire trust in him. When he least expects it, he will see his enemy at his feet. And so concludes Chapter 6 of The Spiritual Combat and a Treatise on Peace of the Soul by Dom Lorenzo Scupoli.